What do you do if someone shows you a picture of their baby and you think they expect a certain response from you? What do you do if they share that they just had a big fight with their partner? What do you do if they share that they just lost a friend? If you are an INTJ, an INTP, another analytical thinking type, these types of situations might make you feel like a deer in the headlights. Oh crap, I'm supposed to do something right now. I'm supposed to have some kind of reaction. I am supposed to fix this for them. Suddenly, this is my problem, right? Because they sent me a text message complaining about something. They showed me a picture on their phone. They start venting in conversation. What do I do? So, I help a lot of clients with this, and I want to walk you through some strategies that you can put into practical use in your life. So, here's the first one. Notice when you receive that implicit request, right? They're not just, when they're showing you a picture of their baby or they're complaining about the fight they had, they're not just giving you kind of neutral information. They're actually making a bid for connection, right? They're asking for you to care about them. Maybe they feel lonely. Maybe they feel distressed, right? So they're not just sharing a fact. They're asking for something, whether they realize it or not, right? So that's a helpful starting point to just realize maybe it's not actually what you think it is. You can kind of translate whatever they're saying as, I feel lonely, or I need help, or do you care about me, right? And then from there, you get to check, how do I want to respond to that, right? If this is an old friend that you haven't talked to for a long time, and they send you a bid for connection, and what they're saying underneath the surface is, do you still care about me? Do you still want to be my friend? You get to decide yes or no, right? You don't have to say yes. In fact, it might be cruel to say yes if you actually don't care about this person and you don't want to be their friend. That would be leading them on. Right? So, in cases like that, or really in any case when they show you a picture of their baby or whatever, you get to decide in that moment, do I want to send the signal that I'm kind of ending this conversation, that this is kind of a period, or do I want to send the signal that I want this to continue? I want to keep going down this path, right? So let's say they send you, you get a text message from a friend that says, I just had a baby. Here's a picture, right? So first you recognize that's a bid for connection. They're not just sharing that information neutrally. They're wanting something from you. And that's okay. You know, we all have needs for connection, right? So they want some kind of connection. You don't have to want it back. So when they send you the baby picture, let's say you have two options. One is you heart emoji it, right? Or you just say cute, exclamation mark. Done. That signals I'm not super interested in continuing this conversation, right? But at least I care enough about you to reply. I'm not ignoring you. Option two is you say, oh, wow, so cute. What's their name? What does it feel like to be a mom? Right? That is signaling I want this conversation to continue. So you need to ask yourself, do you want to send that signal? Do you want the conversation to continue? Right? Because the tricky part is if you think, well, to be a good person, I have to ask a follow-up question. And, you know, sometimes that kind of feels true culturally, right? There's certain norms in certain families or cultures that that is what a good person looks like. And that's not fair to us, right? If that's kind of imposed on us that you have to perform in this way. So you get to decide, do I want to lean into that norm, or do I want to push against it and say, no, I don't have to follow that norm? So you might think the only acceptable response here is to ask follow-up questions. But what if you just heart it? What if you just say cute? Is that allowed? Yes, it is. You know, maybe they might have a slight hurt feeling. Maybe they were hoping you'd be more interested. Oh well, then they get to deal with that, right? You should not have to do the emotional labor of caring for them if you don't really care in that moment, if you don't really want to do that. They're the one who pushed this onto you. You didn't ask, hey, give me your baby update. right? They just sent that to you. So you're not required to do labor here. You can just say cute and be done. All right. Next, um, notice your authentic reaction. So, um, let's say uh, a friend shares that they just got divorced, and that surprises you. You know, you might think, oh, I'm supposed to be super empathetic right now, but that is not your authentic reaction, right? Your authentic reaction is surprise and confusion. So what if you lean into that instead? Not again, I have to perform, oh no, how are you doing? Wow. Because that's forcing you to be something that you're not in that moment. What you're really feeling is confusion, surprise. So what would an authentic response be? Well, if you're confused, you might try to get clarity. So you might say, "Oh wow, that's really surprising. Where did that come from?" Right? Or maybe you don't know how to respond because is the divorce a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe they feel devastated. Maybe they feel so joyful. They've been wanting to get out of that stupid marriage forever. Right? So if you say, "Oh no," maybe they're like, "No, this is the best thing that ever happened to me." Right? So if you're confused, perhaps the right next thing to do is to say, "How do you feel about that?" Right? And then they'll tell you, "I'm overjoyed," or "I'm devastated." Great. Then that can lead you to your next move. Right? So if you're confused, ask a question. Next tip. Um, it's really easy to think that when someone's sharing something like that, now there's a burden on you. Now you have to fix it for them. Now you have to support them. It's on your shoulders, right? Um, but maybe you don't want to take that on. So you've got a few things here. One is you could ask, "What do you need right now?" Instead of assuming, I need to fix this for you. I need to give you advice. I need to give you empathy. Right? Often, especially guys, will default to, I'm going to give you advice. I'm going to tell you what your blind spot is. I'm going to tell you how to fix this. I know what's best. Right? And I shouldn't just say guys. It's a lot of analytical thinkers of all genders. Um, but it tends to be kind of a cultural message that guys get, that they're expected to fix things, or that's what they're supposed to do, right? Um, and often that's not what people want. They don't want your advice. They just want you to hold space for them, to just listen. They just want to feel heard, right? So you might ask, well, do you want advice right now? Do you just want to vent? Do you just want me to listen? And they can tell you. So instead of just assuming I have to take on this burden, you can ask, what do you need right now? You can also say, um, to be honest, I'm really low on bandwidth right now. I don't think I'm the right person to help you. Is there anyone else you could call? So again, you're asking a question to get more information. They might say, um, you know what? I have no friends. There's no one in my life. You're the only person I know. Could you support me right now? That's very different from if they say, oh yeah, I have lots of friends. I guess I can call one of them. Right? If you are literally the only person who can help them, that's a different kind of moral responsibility, perhaps. But it's totally reasonable to just say, do you have any other support right now? And you could even say, I feel for you, and to be honest, I don't think I'm the right person to support you. I'm not the most touchy-feely person. I think you would really benefit from someone who's really able to give you the empathy you deserve. So again, you can say, I don't have the bandwidth right now. If you want, you could say, I'd be happy to talk to you this weekend or later today or something. Or if you don't feel happy to do that later, then don't offer that. Right? So you could say, I have low bandwidth. I'm not available for this right now. You could say, I don't think I'm the right person for this. This isn't really my wheelhouse. It's not really my skill set. But if you want to brainstorm solutions or you want advice, then I'm your person. Right? But if you just want a shoulder to cry on, I'm probably not the best person for that. But but I care about you and I want you to get the support you need. Is there anyone else you can call? So that's often the key thing, is kind of the offering a little reassurance as well. That's how you can kind of soften the no. So you're not just saying like, hell no, get away from me. Right? You're kind of saying, hey, I'm not available for this right now, but I care about you. I hope you get the support you need. That makes a big difference. And so that's my last point, is about kind of offering micro empathy. So with any of these, if you are saying no, I can't do this, I'm not the right person, if you soften it with just a little empathy, that can go a long way. So it might feel performative for you to say, oh my gosh, wow, you must be suffering so much right now. Wow, how can I help? So don't go all the way to that extreme. But on the other side, don't be a dick, right? Of just saying, why are you telling me that? Go away, right? So you can be somewhere in the middle, and even kind of closer to the dick side, you can just do just a little empathy, right? Like, oh no, what do you need right now? Oh wow, that sounds really hard. Do you have anyone you can call for support? Oh gosh, that sucks. What do you need? All right, so just adding like a really little statement first can really just soften the blow and reassure them that you care, even though you're not available to support them right now. All right. I hope some of that feels helpful. I'd love to hear how this goes in the comments. And I invite you to stop right now and just think about it a bit. What are some times in your life when you feel that sense that now this is my responsibility? I have to fix this for you. I have to care for you, but I don't want to. I feel like I'm being forced to perform, and I don't want to do that. What's the most common type of situation where that comes up? And which of these strategies could you try there instead? I hope you have a nourishing day.